Good morning, everyone. Before we jump into today's demo, I want to take a moment to say thank you. First, to all of you who've subscribed and helped this channel hit a brand new milestone. That means a lot. And second, to every single beta tester for Shot Studio Pro. We had over 120 access requests, and your feedback directly shaped the release we're showing today. Before we get into the full walkthrough, here's a quick 10-second look at the channel, and then we'll dive straight into the rest of the demo.
TechGyro. Search.
So here's what we'll cover today. First, the finished animation produced by Shot Studio Pro, straight from start to finish. Then the storyboard script itself, the one we actually used, and a walkthrough of how Shot Studio Pro takes that script and turns it into generated shots. We'll also get into the problems we ran into along the way and how we solved them, plus a look at some of the newer features that weren't part of the original beta. And finally, I'll drop the link to the full release in the description below, so you can grab access right after this video. But before we go any further, let's start with a quick look at what Shot Studio Pro generated from the
Oliver's clothes. A crisp, satisfying crunch sounds as he bites into the biscuit.
Oliver, is that the last biscuit? Can I have some? No way. I found it first. It's mine.
What's happening here, children? Are you both fighting again?
If you don't share, I won't play or talk with you ever.
So what do we have here? Everything fine?
She wants my biscuit, Dad. I got there first.
Fair enough.
Remember sharing those crisps at the park?
Here, Lily, take it. You are the best.
That's so sweet.
That good, Oliver. Offer and always share with others.
Okay, so you just saw that clip. That's exactly what Shot Studio Pro generated. And now let's slow down and walk through it step by step, from a completely empty project all the way to that finished animation. We started from scratch, a brand new, empty project. From there we went into Tools and opened up the Storyboard Studio, the very first stop in this whole pipeline. And before you can do anything inside it, there's one thing you need, a script. I called this one the Last Biscuit, a short 3D animated story written specifically to put this tool through its paces. Let me open it up and show you exactly what I had saved. Here's the brief I gave the AI agent. 2 scenes, 2 shots in each, and 4 characters, mom, dad, and a brother and sister pair, all built around one simple theme. Sharing is caring. I deliberately kept it short, 40 seconds to a minute, because for a first test like this, shorter is so much easier to review end to end. And honestly, that short brief was genuinely all the agent needed to flesh out a complete little story. Now, once that script was loaded, the next step was generating the assets. And this is where it gets interesting. I started by running autofill on the characters without first reviewing the descriptions. And as you can probably guess, the results didn't quite match the picture in my head. I was looking for an 8-year-old boy and a 5 or 6-year-old girl. What came back was close, but not quite right. So I went back into the character panel, made the prompt more specific about age and look, and hit regenerate. That one extra pass gave me exactly what I wanted, and I did the same for the boy character too. So just to recap, the script stays simple. Mom, dad, a boy, and a girl, one shared location, and just 2 key props driving the whole story, a biscuit and a bag of chips. Nothing elaborate, but enough to build a complete little narrative around. Now here's the part one really want you to pay attention to, because this is exactly what tripped me up the first time through. When the storyboard started generating, it actually picked up a different set of characters than the ones I had just carefully created and approved. Incredibly easy to miss if you're moving quickly and not double-checking each shot. So I had to pause, go back into the storyboard, manually swap in the correct character assets, and properly link each one to its matching scene. Once that relinking was done, everything from that point on generated cleanly, shot after shot, without a single hiccup. And that really is the big takeaway here. Always keep a close eye on what's actually being generated, especially your character assets, because they carry through every shot in your story. One quick tip if you're planning your own first test story. Keep your character count low, your prop list short, and your scenes to just 1 or 2. It makes every review checkpoint faster, and makes spotting a mismatched asset so much easier than hunting through a dozen shots later. Once I was happy with how every shot looked, I went ahead and saved the story. And with the storyboard locked in and ready, that's our cue to move on to the real heart of this video, the animation stage, where Shot Studio Pro takes this storyboard and brings every shot to life. Alright, so now let's get into the actual project. This is the part most of you have been asking about. We log into the project, and this is the very video you saw a moment ago, all the frames, scenes, and images already sitting there. To get here, you go into Tools and click on Shot Studio Pro, and that's the link I'll be sharing with all of you today. I had a few different versions floating around for testing, and this is the build I actually used to generate everything you've seen. So, working from inside Shot Studio Pro, I went through this step by step to build out the video. You've got 2 scenes here, with multiple shots inside each one, and finally I created a cover, and the tool stitches the cover scene together with the correct shots automatically. Now, the interface itself is largely the same as the previous beta release. Nothing major has changed visually, so if you use the beta, you'll feel right at home. One nice addition though, you can now reorder shots within a scene. So this becomes shot 1, this becomes shot 2, and you can freely rearrange all your shots and videos right here. The way I worked was, first create a draft, just like we covered in the earlier video, and then go ahead and generate the image. My advice, especially when you're just testing things out, keep it on the basic setting with a reference image for your first few runs. For duration, I used the second option, and for the actual animation I used Omni Flash on almost every shot, except one, and I'll explain exactly why I had to switch over to VO 3.1 for that one in a bit. Here you can see the scene with all the videos generated and properly attached for reference. Now let's talk about what happens once everything's generated, because this is where Shot Studio Pro really shines. You can click through and see exactly what prompt was used for each clip, and you can tweak that prompt before hitting animate, which then brings the entire story to life. You'll also see clear references showing which video belongs to which story, which scene, and which shot, so nothing gets lost in the shuffle. So what's next? You've got a few options here. You can go shot by shot and individually download each video, then stitch everything together yourself in order. Or, and this is the new piece I want to highlight, there's something called Master Assembly. Click into it, and you get a full assembly pipeline view where you can reorder frames, jump to the first or last clip, drag things around freely. Say I want to move this cover to the very front. I just grab it, drag it to the beginning, and we're set to stitch everything together. From there, you've actually got 3 different ways to bring it all together. First is download selected. You select everything, hit download, and it all comes down as a single zip file with properly numbered file names, like underscore s1, underscore file name. So you can drop them straight into your own editor, CapCut, any NLE you prefer, and assemble it your way. The second option is fast join. This merges everything into one big final video for you automatically. If you're happy with the results and don't need any extra edits, you just hit create final MP4, and it'll process and send the finished video to your machine. For around 14 clips, that whole process takes roughly 30 seconds to a minute. Quick and reliable. The third option is Pro Merge, and this one's a bit more advanced. It lets you apply a small crossfade transition between clips, adjust how long each transition runs, and then send the result either to your gallery or download it locally. I'll be honest with you though, I kept everything local for this run, because Pro Merge has a real limitation right now. Since all of that crossfade processing happens in your browser rather than on the server, stitching together a lot of clips with transitions eats up a huge amount of memory. And when it runs out, it can simply fail silently and produce nothing. If you're working with just 2 or 3 shots, Pro Merge handles it just fine, but for a full video pipeline with many shots, it struggles, purely because of browser memory limits. That's something to keep in mind. Now, there used to be a scene builder option here too, where you could send your stitched output directly into the scene builder as part of your project, letting you combine multiple clips and download everything together. That's actually one of the features I'll be bringing back. It wasn't included in the beta release, but I'll be releasing it shortly after this video goes live, and I'll drop the link in the description once it's ready. So that's one big thing to look forward to. Let's talk about another issue I ran into, and this is genuinely useful to know if you're testing this yourself. With Omni Flash, every now and then a prompt simply won't go through. Even something that looks completely harmless to you. You'll get a policy violation error. What's happening under the hood is that certain words or phrasings just aren't accepted by the model. Sometimes it's quite strict about specific terms. When that happened to me, I went back, reworded the prompt slightly, and it went through cleanly the next time. In a few other cases though, no amount of rewording helped. The prompt just wouldn't process. When you hit that wall, you've got one fallback. Switch over to VO 3.1. The same prompt that fails on Omni will often work fine there, but be ready for more hallucinations with VO, so plan to generate 3 or 4 takes and pick the best one. That's exactly what happened with one of my clips. Omni rejected it outright, so I switched the prompt and tried again, and that one ended up going through on VO instead. Just something to budget time for if you run into it. Apart from that one hiccup, everything else went smoothly. The video you saw at the very start, That full Last Biscuit sequence was assembled right here using master assembly and stitched together with fast join. One more feature worth showing you is something called the dispatch manifest. Whenever a generation fails or behaves unexpectedly, you often have no visibility into the exact prompt that was actually sent to the model. This view lays that all out for you. Every reference, every detail. It's genuinely how I discovered the prompting issues with Omni Flash in the first place. Think of it purely as a debugging tool, not something to fine-tune your perfect prompt with, but something to understand exactly what went wrong and why. In my experience, it works correctly around 90% of the time. In the other cases, switching over to VO 3.1 does the trick. A couple of things I haven't fully tested yet, but plan to soon. Image to video and video to video, both part of the Pro tier. I expect the basics to work fine, but I want to validate it properly before recommending it to you. The other feature worth knowing about is extending. You can take an existing shot and extend it with another clip in that exact same sequence, adding more footage to the same scene without starting over. And finally, for every single video and every model you generate with, make sure you export to JSON regularly. I made a ton of changes along the way, and that JSON export is what let me carry all of it forward safely. One important warning here. If you happen to lose a generated video without exporting first, your credits for that generation are simply gone. They don't come back. So build that habit early. Overall, from my own experience, I'm genuinely happy with where this stands. I was able to put together this entire 1-minute video, start to finish, including the storyboard, every video generation, and the final merge, in about an hour. That's a solid pipeline for something this early. I'll drop the access link below this video. Going forward, I'll also be testing extend, image to video, and a few other things, and I'm aiming to put out another release in roughly a week. Give this a try and let me know how it works for you. The feedback link is right there in the description, same as before, so if you've got thoughts on the product or anything else, I genuinely want to hear it. So thank you again for subscribing, for jumping in as beta testers, and for showing so much interest in this project. I'll keep pushing to make it better. If there's a specific feature you'd love to see, drop it in the comments or through the feedback link, and I'll do my best to build it and ship it in an upcoming release. Thanks again for everything, for subscribing, for every comment, and for helping make this better with me. Thank you.